This is Nikon Z 24 to 120mm f4 S lens. This is likely would be the only lens you need. In this video, I'm going to talk about this lens, how the photo quality is, showing you some photo samples, my thoughts about the glass, and who I think this lens would be best suited for. This is an S series lens. All the S series have blown me away with its sharpness to the point that awesomeness now is a standard. I don't know if I can take any less than awesome from this point, and I believe S might stand for superb. So let's get through the body of the lens itself. So you got the focus ring right here, and this is the zoom ring, and this part, this is one of the great added feature on Z lenses. You can customize this to set your ISO, so instead of dialing the button there on the camera, you can set this so you can just twist this and the ISO is going to change, as well as you can set it as the aperture. And it also have this customizable function button and manual autofocus switch. And for those of you who are curious, this is a comparison between 24 to 72.8 and 20 to 120mm f4. So you can sort of see there's only very slight difference, but this one is lightweight. This is lighter at only 630 grams. So this is a 2470 extension, and this is the 24 to 120mm extension. Okay, let me tell you what I love about this lens. Over the last few weeks, I've been using this lens and I love the versatility. Landscape, portrait, you name it. I think that's a main selling point for this lens. I can feel it. The constant aperture of f4 makes zoom in and zoom out at the maximum aperture a breeze without having to lose light. So no matter if you're shooting at 24 or 120mm, you still get that nice f4 throughout. Weather shield is always an important added bonus to me. I do weddings, landscape, travel. Sometimes I get people saying, hey gee, it's gonna be raining for our wedding. We worry about the camera. This is one of the many reasons that I shoot Nikon. The weather shield reliability, just like out there. I want to be able to shoot regardless of the weather, or at least have a lot less worry when weather gets extreme. Now there's a misperception out there that if you want to do bokeh, you need to go to f1.8 or f1.4, 1.2. While that might be true, it doesn't mean that this lens can't do bokeh at f4. In fact, you still can do that by coming closer to the subject, separate your subject from the background, and it can also extend the zoom ring a little bit more. Not only you get the nice bokeh, but by zooming in the barrel, you also have the nice background compressions. Also, not to mention the minimum focusing distance at only 35 centimeters, allowing you to shoot macro-ish photos. You get pretty close to your subject, I can tell you that, especially when you extend it to 120mm. You get close to the subject, you still can get beautiful, nice shots with nice bokeh. If you have been following my wedding photos on my IG story, you would know that I am a sucker for a good sunburst. This lens is no different. This is really decent at sunburst. It's good at f8. Obviously, it is even better at f16. You might be asking, gee, is this lens really perfect and it does everything that I want to? The quick answer is no, because there's no one single lens that can do every single look that you want. So as this lens, the f4 aperture, it might not be ideal for astrophotography. However, it does not mean that it cannot work. I can emphasize to you, it can work. You just need to compensate the f4 with longer exposure and accept more trails in the stars, or compensate with a higher ISO and accept more grain in the photos. So it can work. And I've got no problem bumping up the ISO, especially with the cameras these days. The high ISO qualities are really good. You know, I shoot weddings with ISO 4000 these days. In the past, I always keep it under 1600, but now, whew, man, 1600, what's that? 4000 is the way to go. Obviously, it's depending on the scenario. So, who is this lens for? Judging by the constant aperture, the zoom range, and the crispy, sharp image quality, this lens will be best suited for, drum roll please, landscape photographer. Whoever that loves to do landscape photography.
Is that all? Who else, G?
I reckon concert photographer. With so much movement going on the stage, most of the time you don't need to shoot at very shallow depth of field of 1.8 and 1.4. This aperture of f4 combined with great focal length will give you a lot more flexibilities and it will get the job done. This lens also suits for travel photographer, someone who travel around, want to capture the scenery of the places that they're going, want to capture the people, the events. This lens would be best suited for that as well because it also does portrait, gives you a nice bokeh just like what I've shown you before. So if you don't want to carry two separate lenses, one for short focal length and the other one for zoom focal length, then this one is for you. Man, this got a zoom of 120 millimeter. This is, in most cases, this is enough. So if you have been considering this lens, you've been looking around, hopefully I have shown you enough photos, enough information. I know this review is pretty short and sweet this time, but hopefully I've shown you and given you enough information for you to make your own judgment. Thanks for watching and following along. If you made it this far, my name is G. I make videos about travel and photography. If you vibe with me, please consider subscribing, and as always, please make this world a better place.